Hello and welcome to Creatives in the Spotlight. I'm your host, Paul Hurley, and today I've got Ty Durden with me. Now, Ty is a writer, director, actor. You just did some music stuff too?
Everything.
Right,
Everything.
okay.
Whatever could get me a step further in the world of entertainment.
Right.
I tell people I'm brave and I'm stupid, so I'm not afraid to try something,
Yeah, you can't be. You can't have fear in this industry.
No.
When you get on set or wherever you're at and you're doing the project, you got to wipe fear out of there. We're all on the same team. We're just there to get it done, whatever it takes.
Exactamundo.
So how long have you been pursuing this dream, Ty?
Well, it's funny because a lot of people kind of have a similar story because a lot of people I knew got into this because of music. Right. I literally got into this because I did music for years, and a lot of it came from a need. I actually became a radio DJ because I wanted to play my music, which I never ended up playing my own music, which was stupid. It was like, what was the point of that? But I learned a new skill, and I really got good at it. And then when I moved to Charlotte about 20 years ago, I was like, well, I want to make my own music videos, but I didn't know anyone. So I'm like, okay, well, let me learn how to do this so I could.
Right.
So I started learning how to film, and then I started collaborating with some people who were doing film, and it grabbed me.
Right, just kind of slid right into it.
Yeah, and it just became like a passion.
So when you were a DJ, was this what, mid-'90s?
This was 1999, 2000. Yeah, somewhere between 1999.
Because I was in it in 94, 95, and 96.
Okay, that was a good year.
In Texas. I worked about 4 different radio stations for a while.
Yeah, that was a good year for music.
It was great, man. I love the music industry. It was wild.
Yeah, it was a lot more free. Again, it was really expression back then. A lot of people don't understand. As my kids say, back in the 1900s, back in the olden days. So.
Well, we aren't getting any younger.
No, we are not. We are not.
So, as far as filming goes, what have you encountered in this industry that would kind of set us apart from everybody else?
A lot of people, it's funny because some people will say that Charlotte's cliquish. I disagree. I literally will preach that on a mountain. I will go on the soapbox. I will go against anybody who says that because I've been one of those people. If anybody who's in this industry, even the film industry, the music industry, the comedy, I've been able to kind of integrate with all of them. And all of them welcome me with open arms. Nobody stopped me. Nobody got in my way. Nobody, everybody. At this point now, I can move seamlessly through all these industries, and it's nothing but respect and love. And it's just about how you carry yourself. A lot of people don't understand that.
Exactly. You carry yourself. You have that respect for others, and that determination to, I don't care what my title is. If I need to carry a bottle of water, if I need to PA on this set, I'll do it. And that's the thing, just that attitude of I don't care what it is, it's got to get done. You can't do it, let's slide over. Let me jump in and help
Humility.
you.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah,
you got to be able to be versatile. And like I tell everybody in the film industry that I know that is fresh and getting into it, it's like start at the bottom.
Exactly.
Learn every facet of it. So when you get to the top, you don't ask people impossible things. You know what that job is, what can be done. So you use all those moving parts, and that's what makes a good director or director.
And that's the thing, too. If you don't have an idea of what somebody's job entails, you can't really truly direct them because you don't know, like you said, you don't know what they're capable of. But at the same time, you can give them a more detailed description of what you want because a lot of times they'll say, well, do this shot. I'm like, that's not a real shot that you're talking about. So if you don't know what that is, then how can you truly do it? But and plus, like you said, it just makes you appreciate it more because when
that gray area of breaking the 180 thing, it's, so. But yeah, there's a lot of different things that we learn, as we go, and I learn stuff, new every day.
Yeah.
I was on a set yesterday, and of course, that's where the beard went.
Oh, yeah. Hey, first of all, kudos to you for committing. This beard ain't going nowhere.
I know, man. I know. Well, and sometimes I grew it out real big for our Punisher film.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to shave it off because like the week afterwards, I was booked at the Children's Hospital to be Batman. I volunteer a lot there.
That's cool.
And, Batman never had a beard. And I'm
Yeah,
like, why couldn't I pick a superhero with a beard,
Very few, though. If you really
I know, right?
Where were you going to be?
Exactly. So, and then I shaved this off, and everybody's looking at me like, I can't take you seriously. You look too much like a cop. And I'm like, oh. But, I was playing an Army lieutenant in the 80s, so.
I think I saw some stills from that, right?
Yeah.
You just had those stills up? Yeah, that was dope.
It was a fun shoot. They're all fun, but, when you get to run around a school with guns, it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
rooftops and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But as long as you're on the right side.
Yes.
But Ty, how many? You've got quite a few movies coming out this year, don't you?
Well, the movies I've done and movies I'm in, it's like the thing about it is I love to collaborate with people.
Right.
That's the thing about it. It's like it never has to just be my own vision. Mm-hmm. The thing about it is whenever I deal with other directors, I love to be part of their projects too.
Right.
And then so of course we worked on a project together. Of course, aside from Under the Gun, we were in a short. Where
that's actually where we met.
Yeah,
we were both cops.
Yes, and so it was cool, man. It was different. They tried to get me to dance, and that didn't plan. You remember that didn't pan out very well. We're not going to talk about yours, okay? We're taking that one to the grave, buddy.
Well, I'm sure if they see the film, they'll see it.
I believe that to the people who happen to catch it.
Oh,
hey, listen again. Salute. You committed. You committed, my brother.
I've never really danced the tango before, but definitely.
Listen. If I didn't know better, and I walked in the room like, yo, he's done this before. He's done this before.
It was wild. You get those experiences on set, but I remember when the director first kind of told us about it, and I didn't say a word. I don't think I had to.
No, your face said everything. Listen, me, you, and Lamont, we could not hold a straight face because we kept looking at you like,
I'm going to what?
That's the most polite way I ever heard somebody say no. I'm like, yeah, he's not feeling this.
But, you take one for the team for the project and just do it.
We still made it fun, man. I think that's what was so cool about it. We really made it fun.
It was great.
You know what I mean?
And then later on, we worked on your project, Under the Gun.
Yep.
I can't wait to see that.
Oh, man, listen.
I saw the story you posted today.
Did you see the peel out?
Yeah, I saw the car coming sliding in. I was like,
you cannot tell me this is not a full-fledged action movie. Like, they're like, who did that spit out? I'm like, listen, man.
I know this dude.
I said, Micah almost took one for the team because he was still standing. I'm like, Micah. I said, come here.
Right.
You don't have to do that. I do not want him to have.
He was like, I knew you were going to hit me, but wow, what a shot.
I'm like, dude, you can only get that wrong once.
Woo.
So, yeah. But
yeah, when you said you wanted to do it again, I was like, okay. I'll make it look better this time.
Man, that was an awesome
yeah, it was
shot.
a great shoot.
That made so much for the movie for me. And then, like I said, again, it was good that we got a chance to get you in there. Because I didn't want you to just be in there. I was like, good, we got a chance to get you in there with some lines and all that kind of good stuff, too.
Yeah,
so
that was a blast. I enjoyed
cool.
it very much so. Now, have you got any other films that you have directed that are coming out this year other than Under the Gun?
Right now, I'm just really focused on Under the Gun. Of course, I still have my series, North Cac. It's been kind of a staple series. It's been around forever.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I'm just learning about it. I haven't seen
North
it yet.
It's kind of like this. Let's put it like this. It's been a staple because it's been around so long. It's because during the creation of it, right? The first season, seamless. Next season, 2020. And you already know how 2020 went. And 2021. So
yeah, it was horrible.
It was such a slow growth. And then by the time we got back into it, I was starting to get deals from Maverick. So I'm like, okay, now I got a choice between something I'm doing for free versus something I'm getting contract money from. So I had to kind of deviate. But every year or so I get another episode out. But the one thing I really pride about North Cac was I tried to bring everybody in it. Like everybody. I guarantee if you watch that show, you're going to know at least 10 or 15 people. Just because I always will reach out like, if I see you out there doing something, you're in the comedy community. I'm like, come be on the show. And then you're playing a role. And, and I try to put people in the capacity of what they can handle, because I'm not going to put you out there where you got to do an Oscar award winning performance and you're not an actor, you know. But I try to give you a capacity where, okay, one, I'm okay. I really like coaching actors because you have to make it kind of psychological. You have to make it, where they can relate to it.
Right.
And then that way they can pull out their best performance.
That's what a good director does. You've got a vision and you want to see that vision in them.
True.
So you're giving them that direction, that you're highlighting it and saying, hey, this is what you got to do. And, they pick up on that and they just do it. I got that from you when I was on set.
Yeah, I'd rather be natural, man. It should be fun, but at the same time, I want you to make that character come to life. I don't want to have to, I want to direct you to make sure that you're not deviating from the story, you're not throwing the character off, but I want the character to come alive through you. I don't want to, because my preconceived notion of what that character was is only in my mind. But once you bring it alive, I want you to make me think, okay, you know what? That character looks better like that.
Right.
But as long as you're staying within the confines and it's natural and you really bring that character out, that's what I want more than anything.
And a lot of people, when you read a script, they just look at the lines. And I'm going to tell you, folks, if you're in acting and you just read your lines, you're not getting anything. No. Your lines are important, but when you read the whole story and you read the vibe, you can feel it, almost smell the scenario in your head as far as this is how it is playing out. This is the mood. This is how I need to respond to this. Anybody can just read lines.
Exactly.
And I've seen some just come in and just be as monotone, and it's like.
Yeah.
It's like, put some heart in it, Let's act like you're really there.
Yeah. I mean, chemistry is important. People don't understand, like, again, you not only just what you bring, but how you feed off of the people with you.
Right.
Because a lot of times if I'm with somebody on the scene, I feed off of their energy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I was coming with this level of energy, but I see yours. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna make this.
We're gonna make it mesh, because you can't have gears going the same, opposite speeds and then mesh. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
but as long as you got that same vibe, the same feeling, the same vision, you explain that right, and it's gonna work.
Exactly.
Especially if that actor has any skills at all.
Well, yeah.
If you bring that out in them and you can do that, kudos, brother, because there's a lot that can't.
Yeah, and I think that's it. And I think a lot of times with directors, they get caught up so much in their words. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, the first rule I tell any actor is, if there are words in here that you do not say comfortably, right. I would rather you, as long as the story is right, it's still linear, the scene still works, everything fits, there's nothing so outside the scene, change the word.
Right.
Because I've seen so many people stumble over an uncomfortable word and it just ruins the scene.
Yeah, because they wouldn't normally say that.
Yeah.
So you're taking them out of their box, and you can sense that immediately and pick up on it.
Yeah, and only your most seasoned actors really are really good with that. Like verbatim. Right. I always credit any actor who's just great at verbatim, because you have to learn speaking in a completely different way that's not how you normally speak and make it come alive. It's hard.
I did that this past weekend. I got the script for the thing that I shot yesterday, Saturday.
Oof.
And I'm like, I got 3 pages of dialogue here. So it was a crash course all day, Sunday. And I was like, I got to read. And after about the third or fourth time, I was like, okay, this is the vibe. I'm feeling it, blah, blah, blah. And I walked in there and I was like, man, really? I could almost ad-lib this, because the guy's a condescending asshole.
Yeah.
And I can do that well.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been married. Yeah. I get it.
You don't have to step so outside of character.
Right.
I can walk through this one.
Yeah. And I was like, you guys cast me this for a reason, didn't you? But, and that's another thing. You can typecast a lot. I get typecast a lot.
Same,
and it works.
Yeah.
You can more or less pick a decent actor, somebody that may be just starting out, and method acting, something that they are familiar with. That's actually how I got started. My very first part, I was a bouncer in a bar. And I'd been a bouncer in a bar for over 25 years, closer to 30.
Yeah, that's what you're more familiar with.
And it was like, yeah, I can do that, and I went in, I did it, and killed it. And then somebody from that set recommended me, and it just snowballed from there. But
it's usually, that's how it happens, though, because basically there's a certain role that people kind of see you in. And then when they see that you're so comfortable and natural in it, somebody will take a chance. Like, I want to give a personal shout out to Quentin Littlejohn, one of my mentors, just a good dude. He's really big about trying to educate filmmakers and actors. He's what you would call a film purist. He is
now
like that.
You do a little bit of that too. You know, we had Gigi here last week, and she mentioned and gave you a lot of props as far as bringing her under your wing and showing her how it works, and and helping her with her film, and that's phenomenal.
I mean,
there needs to be more of that. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's what I live for that. In all honesty, I think if anybody who's anywhere around me, I believe in a certain belief structure where if you're anywhere within my area, I'm going to try to build you up.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like if I can give you an opportunity, if I know somebody who's out there who's got a movie coming up and I think you're perfect for, I'll tag you and say, hey, come on,
right,
get over here. Or if I see an opportunity, I'm like, you know what? You're showing a lot of potential to write. How about we write? Let's get you to, and I'm on so many other different people's sets,
right,
just because I sat there and talked you into upgrading. Because I'm not going to leave you after I told you to do it. But
hey, that's admirable. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Not many people would do that at all.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this: what has been your biggest challenge on a set?
Biggest challenge, scheduling. I hate scheduling. Everybody hates scheduling because scheduling would be perfect if people weren't involved with it.
Right. You got that one scheduled for the morning that shows up 2 hours late, which totally just throws everything
off.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah, that actually happened to me last month. Drove 3 hours to a set, got there the day early, stayed in a hotel, bed and breakfast, got up that morning, was an hour and a half early to set. The main actress was 3.5 hours late. And it was like, and they couldn't shoot anything else before because the rest were night scenes. We were going to shoot all day with her stuff. And it was like,
that's the worst.
And I refuse to do that. If I'm going to be late, I'm dead.
Yeah.
If I'm not 10 minutes early, I'm late. That's always been my mentality. But when I'm late, I'm being inconsiderate to everybody else that has a schedule, that has this, that has that going on. And it's like, are we not on the same team?
And that's the craziest part because, see, most of the time, these shoots are in Charlotte.
Right.
And these are people in Charlotte. I'm coming from Monroe, and I'm still earlier than most of them. Because it's like at the same time, one, because I know I have to travel further. So it's almost an hour for me. So I'm like.
You give yourself a window,
time,
in case something happens.
And this is one tip I want to give everybody out here who's watching. This is a great way to keep yourself timely. While you are getting ready, go ahead and GPS where you're going. And that way it will show you how long you have left to go. Because if I'm sitting here at 6 o'clock, it says my ETA is 6:55, then I need to move a little faster. You got 5 minutes till, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's one of those, if you kind of train yourself in better habits, you can at least do that. But I've had actresses who literally I've called and I'm like, where are you at? We had a shoot today? Man, listen. Listen.
And that's the thing. Some people take this stuff very seriously. Some people take it with a grain of salt, and it's like, we're all in this to win it. That passive attitude of, if it happens, it happens, blah, blah, blah. I'll get there when I get there. That's not going to go very far in this industry.
No, and I tell people that all the time. What really bothers me is when it's somebody who's really talented.
Yeah, and it seems like they're just squandering it because they're not taking it seriously.
No, and it's like you're not going to get any further because I already told them, I said, Hollywood directors are not going to recast you. They're not going to even talk to you again. In fact, by the time you get there, they've already got you recasted.
Yeah, you'll be blacklisted. You won't be. That's
not
bad
even
news.
Worth it. Yeah, it's not even worth it. So you get good habits now.
And your name, it means a lot in this industry.
It does.
Your demeanor, your attitude, how you treat people. It's very important. This is a small community. Now, there are a lot of people in acting in this area, but everybody knows somebody.
The degree of separation might be like 3 or 4.
Right, maybe
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because, I keep running into people who know people at this point, so.
Yeah, and it's like, don't work with him or don't work with her. You're going to have your hands full, and it's nice to have a little bit of a heads up like that. Some of it, if I don't, necessarily see proof thereof, it's okay, you feel that way. I get it. But you start showing me receipts and
Yeah.
Get away.
And you got to listen to the story they tell, too, because sometimes it sounds like even the story sounds
and it may be a little personal, you know, a little vendetta, like, well, I got you in here, and blah, 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 and now you're doing better than me. Well, I'm going to ruin your name, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Boy. I've seen that.
Oh, man, I've seen so much gossip like that, and it's like, then you have to consider the source.
And that's exactly what it is. I tell people like this. I said, if you're hearing bad about me, consider the source, because at the end of the day, that's something I believe in, karma currency. I believe in having where basically I could not have hardly any resources and things, but because of how I carry myself, how I treat others, and how I've kept a good rapport over the years, people go out of their way.
Well, it commands that level of respect. Yeah. They know you as a good man, and they want to do good by you.
Exactly.
You know, and that's what I preach to everybody in this industry. Just be good.
Right.
And good will come to you, because others will stand up and help support you and help raise you, because they know that you're worthy of it. You know, you've got your stuff together. You treat everybody right. You're making a heck of a film, you know. So all those things kind of fall into place. But, yeah, it's a big world, but it's a small world too.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, so now just a word from our sponsor.
Looking for new sets, backdrops, lights, and props to use? Noda Art House has everything at an affordable rate and for private full access.
Hey, and welcome back to Creatives in the Spotlight. Ty, we were just talking briefly during our break here about your film Under the Gun. Tell me a little bit more about that. When did you decide to get the idea for it, write it, and start filming?
Well, it was funny because, and again, big shout out to my co-stars, Ray Lewis, Carlos Massey, and Coco. It actually started, it was funny because one day I was just looking, because, you know, I've worked with Coco for years. I've worked with Carlos for years, and I just started working with Ray. And I said, you know what? We look like we could be related. And that's what really started it. I said, you know what? We look like we could be cousins. Like, literally, Carlos Massey and I, people keep saying, is that your uncle? Is that your dad? Is that, like, and then me and Coco forever, they're like, you know, y'all look like brother and sister. And then me and Ray look like we could be family. So it's like, I was like, let's make a cool movie where it's like, you know, it's like four cousins kind of going through some stuff and all that kind of stuff. So it was something that I actually talked about a year prior to when I started. I was like, you know, I'm going to do this, y'all. And then they're like, okay, cool. And I don't know if they knew I was really going to do it.
Right. But you were putting everything in motion to roll out with it.
And it was cool because Maverick was like, yeah, we like that idea, so we're going to fund it. And so that's how we were able to really get everything going. So it was cool. And then what was really cool, and you know, a lot of people are familiar with the baby and everything like that from Charlotte. One of his, I guess you would call him bandmates, Rich Dunk, he actually is in the film, and it's actually his first film ever, which is really cool for us because, you know, for one, it's just cool to see the fact that, you know, he was so excited. Now, this man has toured with the baby all over the place, and he's probably seen all kind of stuff, but he had never been able to be in a film.
Oh, wow.
So when we reached out to him and we had a talk, he's like, you know, I've always wanted to really act. Like, it's always been a passion of mine. I'm like, cool. So, you know, just the fact that we'd be a part of his journey in that way. And in fact, literally on the way here, no lie, I just got off the phone with him on the way here. And we were just talking about how, you know, how big this is going to be for him personally, just being
Well, he did the soundtrack for it, too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did it. And he's in fact, that's what we were talking about, because he's actually getting ready to record the intro song for the film Sunday.
Okay.
So it's gonna be cool. We're actually gonna do a video. Paul, you ought to come out to the video, man.
I'm there.
Hey,
you send me the info. You know I'll be there.
We're gonna need a police car.
I'll bring it.
We're gonna need some special effects.
Okay.
I really am. Like, you know what? I think they really want to do that too, because I was telling them, I said we want to make it a little bit cinematic too. I didn't want to just do the usual video. I wanted it to be something kind of cool because.
Look at that. I just booked a part in a music video. Look how easy it is.
If I get an opportunity, look, I'm going to try to get you in there.
Hey, man, that works.
And what I really want to do is, since it's kind of promoting the video or whatever, promoting the movie, you know how during the credits on a lot of movies and shows, they'll have like a music video playing during it.
Right.
So the music video will be playing during the credits, promoting the song.
Awesome.
The movie. Yeah,
awesome.
so it's going to be cool, man. So, you know, that's why we're trying to go ahead and make sure we get this.
You know, cross-collaboration like that works so well in this industry when you mix music with movie. I've worked with a couple of writers and musicians that do that. And it's always been just a really cool experience, you know. normally when you're writing something, you kind of get already the song in your head, but it's already got copyrights. It's somebody else's song, you know. But then when you talk to one of these folks and you're like, I want something like this mixed with that, and then they come up with something, you know, wow, that's it, you know. And it's really the movie making part is probably the most gratifying thing.
And you know, and I want to get on a quick soapbox about that as far as the music and the movie industry, and that's something that, as far as my motion for this year, I'm making a strong effort, and I mean a strong effort to really collaborate the music scene and the film scene here in Charlotte.
That's awesome.
Because that's the thing about it. A lot of people don't understand, and I say this to every musician watching: don't limit yourself to just the music community. Because we filmmakers always need soundtrack work. We always need score work. We always need original music. So don't limit yourself to just dreams of being on the radio, because I've done a couple page speeches, whatever. I'm talking to a group and I'll talk to them. And one of the things I would use as an example, I'll say, well, think of the movie or think of the song Eye of the Tiger. Mm-hmm. Now, there was a kid in there who was 18 years old. And he's like, I know that song. I said, why do you think you know that song? He's like, because it went with that movie. He didn't even know the name of the movie. But he's like, that movie. I said, that's my point. I said, think about that. If that song came on the radio and that was all it was, the trend's over with. We would have never even hardly heard of it.
Oh, I know it.
But the fact is, movies immortalize songs.
They do.
People don't understand that. And that's the thing about it. I told people, I said, why be trending when you can be legendary? When you can have your song being something that's a project that people will listen to forever. And with the Shazam generation, the way it is, because I am a Shazammer. I'll be sitting there watching a movie, it'd be the most obscure song. Don't matter, I like it because it really makes the scene sound good. I'm a Shazam it. I got the weirdest playlist you ever seen, man. Because I'm like, yo, because it makes me think.
I like that, yeah.
And I'll Shazam it right there. So that's right there. That's the music industry building in itself. So I encourage. This year is what I'm really doing about encouraging filmmakers to come to more music events and musicians to come to more film events, and we start doing more collaborative events because there's a lot of talented musicians out there. And a lot of times when filmmakers are looking for scores, they reach out to the first musician they see, and they're limiting how good their soundtrack can really be because they don't really know what's out here. And then musicians are over here chasing what's trending, what's marketable, but understand when you are a musician – in a movie soundtrack, no one cares if it's trending. It's what fits the scene good, what makes the movie stand out, what makes this an iconic moment.
What really gets in there and affects you.
Yeah, and it makes you feel that moment, and that's what people don't understand. So it's like you don't have to chase radio, you don't have to chase marketable, you don't have to chase trending. You can be original. In fact, we actually appreciate that because I don't know about you, but if I'm sitting here doing a scene where we're supposed to be on an island, I don't want something that sounds like what's on the radio. I want something that complements that. And you're allowed to be a lot more creative and a lot more free. So that's my little bit of a soapbox. I encourage every filmmaker, every musician, start collaborating. Go out to those events. Go out, network with each other, because that's what I'm going to really be big on this year. I'm going to be doing a lot of networking events where I'm bringing musicians of all types to filmmakers because we need each other. Right,
we do. We do, absolutely. And that's amazing. I have been seeing a lot of your posts here lately where you're wanting to meet with groups and you know, network. And that's really what this industry is about. It's networking. Yeah. It's not so much what you know, it's who you know and what you can do, what you bring to the table.
It's who you know and who knows you.
Yeah.
You know, because I can know, I mean, I can know Denzel, but that doesn't mean he knows me. It's like it's who knows you and who actually, you know, you have a working relationship with, and that comes with familiarity. You have to be able to be in the presence of so many people to where you're like, okay, me and that person have a good rapport. Like, again, when we're on set, we're sitting here joking and laughing because we have familiarity. We've been around each other. We're comfortable. That matters versus because we'll even be talking online. We'll just be joking and laughing online because we are familiar. And that's just the whole point. And that doesn't happen until you expose yourself around people enough in that capacity where you have genuine relationships with people. And that's really what separates the people who are successful as far as just proper exposure and proper notoriety. You know, I think that's really why a lot of people do know my name, because I'm going out there talking to different groups and being in different places. And
you're in their face. You're like, hey,
you can't get rid of me. You
right.
can't.
And that's the only way to succeed in this business.
Yeah.
You know, just keep at it, stay around the circles.
True.
And you know, whether you're in theater, you're a musician, or you're an actor, we're all entertainers.
Exactly.
And we all, you know, have to follow certain guidelines and certain rules and so on and so forth, but we can all relate.
Exactly.
Because that's what we do.
Exactly.
Well, Ty, thank you again so much for coming on the show today. Be sure to check out Under the Gun when it comes out. Do you have any idea, ballpark?
Well, as far as when it's being released by major streaming platforms, we never know because it's basically on the streaming platform. It's like they got to put it in there and find a place and time.
Oh, right.
But I know by this summer we will have a premiere for it.
Okay.
So you already know, Paul.
I might have to shave again. I mean,
Hey, you're going to have to take some pictures now.
yeah, I got to look good for that.
Yeah,
So
you're going to be immortalized whatever look you got. So just know that. So, but but it's going to be awesome though, man. We're really it's going to be an epic event because a lot of people are really anticipating it. We had a huge cast. So a lot of people just really want to see this thing happen. So
awesome. Well, for sure, send me that info this weekend. I'd love to be there this weekend. I'll even wash the cop car, and we'll make that happen. But guys, thank you for joining us. Ty, thank you again for coming in today and spending a little time with us here in the studio, so our viewers here can get an idea of the in-depth look and world of Ty Durden.
indeed.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you very much. Guys, y'all have a great day. I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll catch you next week.